How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back again with a brand new review video, guys. I just got this in the mail today, and as you can see, it is the MMS 352 1/6 scale endoskeleton from Terminator Genisys by Hot Toys. So we're gonna go ahead and start right away with the source information. And I really don't have much to say about the movie itself. I do agree with most critics of this movie. It wasn't that good. But as you can see, I do have the Blu-ray disc, and it does say on the front cover by a movie critic, Mark Hughes, on Forbes magazine. He quotes that it's the best Terminator since T2 Judgment Day. And to a point, I do agree with that. I do believe that it's better than Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. And by better, I mean way better. Because that one, in my opinion, was just garbage. And when you compare it to Terminator Salvation, maybe it's on the same level as that. The CGI on Terminator Genisys was way better, on a whole different scale. I can tell you guys that much. If you compare the young Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator Salvation that Christian Bale fought toward the end of the movie, that looked so horrible. You can totally tell it looked fake. The face was just all wrong. But when you compare that to Terminator Genisys, the young Arnold that was on there, that was CGI as well, but it would really fool you. You would almost think that it was real, that it was really young Arnold. That kind of blew me away, and I was impressed with that. Good things I could say about the movie was that it had great action. They handled the fight scenes and vehicle chases and such, the future war, all of that I really liked. That was all good. The letdown for me in the movie was the story. I don't know, it's just, I don't really feel that they needed to go back and back to 1984 to erase all of the events that happened, like, because they pretty much changed the whole story, like everything. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the story on there pretty much doesn't exist anymore because they changed the timeline. So that's another reason why I didn't like it. And now I hear that they're gonna make yet another Terminator with Arnold, and this time James Cameron has a hand in it, but he's still not directing it. I'm not sure if he's a producer or something, but hopefully with his insight, we'll actually have a good Terminator movie after all this time. I know it's a stretch hoping for that, but there's no crime in hoping. I know a lot of people are tired of constant sequels to Terminator. There's a lot of people that just want the franchise to die, but I would say the same thing. But now that they're kind of bringing James Cameron back into it, it might have a chance to redeem itself, so who knows, we'll see. So for the score for source information, I'm gonna have to give this movie I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 10. Alright, so stick with me guys and we'll roll on to the next category. Alright, so we've reached the category of packaging. And this is in theme with the previous Hot Toys figure from this line, the Terminator Genisys line. The previous figure being Pops, or the Terminator Guardian. The Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator from this movie. I did not pick that one up because I didn't feel like having an old Arnold in my collection. So I skipped out on that. But the box from that figure is very similar to this one. It's got the white stripes on the side here with the picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger in the front from the movie, with the Terminator Genisys logo on the bottom. This one says Endoskeleton 1/6 scale collectible figure, MMS 352. And then you got the Hot Toys logo on the bottom right hand side, the movie masterpiece logo on the bottom left, and then you got a cool image of the endoskeleton. I'm gonna say that this is the figure. I might be wrong. It could be the endoskeleton from the movie. I don't know. And then it's got a cool flame effect background right here on the back of it. And the material where the picture is, it's not raised, but it's kind of like a sandpaper feel compared to the white stripes on the sides, these being very smooth. I don't know if, yeah, see, there you go, you can hear the difference. And then on the top you got the Terminator Genisys logo again. On the bottom, same thing. On the side, still with the sandpaper feel, you see that the picture or the image from the front wraps around with the plasma minigun, and it says Endoskeleton Terminator Genisys 1/6 scale collectible figure, MMS 352. And on the other side, same thing. You get kind of the arm of the endoskeleton right there with the same stripe that says the same thing on the other side. Now on the back of it, you got the movie masterpiece logo, and then it says Hot Toys presents movie masterpiece series, MMS 352 endoskeleton 1/6 scale collectible figure. You got the Hot Toys logo right there in the middle, and then you get a whole bunch of information for the Hot Toys social media, their Facebook and some of their other websites, and then you get the secret base logo there, and you get the Toy Hunters logo, and you get the warning and choking hazards that nobody really reads. You get some more logos, you get the barcode right there, and then you get kind of like a background of the endoskeleton skull. It's kind of like a schematic drawing of it. And then when we pop her open, see if I can do it one-handed. Come on, work with me here. Alright, so I was not able to get that open with one hand, so I had to put a short pause in the video. But as you can see, it comes with a slip cover, and it's kind of like the first-person view of the Terminator. You get the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge here with the traffic on the bridge, a bunch of cars. It basically recreating the scene in the movie where they're on the school bus and they're trying to get away from John Connor, and Terminator sweeps in to rescue them. If you guys have not seen the movie, there will be some spoilers, just to let you guys know, in this video. But if you don't care to see the movie, which probably most of you don't, just stick around. I'll probably save you guys the trouble. So getting back to the package, you get the cast and crew here from the people who worked on the figure. If you guys want to pause that to read it, there you go. And then behind the slipcover, it reveals the clamshell with the figure and all of its accessories. But that's the package for you. All in all, I'm going to say it's pretty basic. It's just a shoebox design style. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, being average. Alright, so stick around and we'll roll on to the next category. Okay, before I go on to the next category in this review, I'd just like to say a few things. The figure on the right hand side, this one, is the original Terminator 2 Battle Damage Endoskeleton figure from Hot Toys. I've had this figure in my collection for quite a while. I'm going to say maybe 7 years. And when I got it, it was really good. I really enjoyed having it. It was great. I'm a big Terminator fan, as you guys know, so it was a real joy to have an endoskeleton in my collection. But as time went on, and they announced this figure, I had to make a choice on which one I want. I don't like having multiple figures of the same thing. Like, I know a lot of people like collecting Iron Man, and that's all their collection is, just Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man. Suits everywhere. But that doesn't cut it for me. I need a lot of variation in my collection. So, saying that, for me, that means that I have to get rid of one of these. But before I tell you guys which one I'm going to keep, let's go through the differences and similarities of these two. So obviously you can see that the Genisys endoskeleton is quite taller than the Terminator 2 T-800 endoskeleton. The paint jobs are very different. This one, it's like a average metal type color that they chose to use on the body and the head. Looking back now, I used to love this figure. It was awesome. But when you put it side by side with this one, you can tell like they could have done a such better job with the paint job. I do like the shading that they put on it. It's battle worn and such. It's got scratches and dark spots all throughout the limbs. So you can tell it's been through a lot of action. The head pops out the most for me. If you see when I zoom in on this, and then I zoom in on this one, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, but this one is, oh man, it's just so much better. At least for me. I've heard a lot of talk about the teeth not being very good. But to me, I think that they are good because they look like real human teeth. Whereas opposed to this one over here, it just looks like they were painted on there, you know, like sculpted and then just painted on. And then as we move down to the torso, you see the chest is very accurate to the movies from back then, the 91 endoskeleton and the 1984 endoskeleton. So yeah, pretty good. But like I said before, the paint job could have been a little bit better. The wiring that they did for all these tubes and such, it's like real springs. So I really enjoyed that. Then when we move on to the arms, it's got decent articulation on it. The hands have fully articulated fingers, and as opposed to this one does not. It just, you change the hands out like you do with any other Hot Toy figure. So that could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. The reason being is that with this old one with the articulated fingers, when you put something in his hands like this gun that you see, he doesn't have much trouble holding that. But when you put the rifle, the plasma rifle that the new one is holding, he can't hold it very good. It just looks awkward when he's holding it. And like with the slightest movement, like say that you're walking around your display case, the rifle just might tip over and you'll have to fix it again. So it can be annoying. But the good side about having articulated fingers is that you can put the hands in any gesture you want. Whereas with these, you can't really do that on the new one since they're fixed in position. And the articulation on the old one, besides the hands, like the arms and legs and such, it wasn't bad for the time, but the articulation on the new one is so much better. We'll get more into that when we get into the category of articulation. But moving down, the spinal column that you guys see right there, compared to this one, you can see the different design. And the chest on the new one is kind of in the shape of the Cyberdyne logo, which I really liked. That was really nice. A nice touch that the designers from the movie Terminator Genisys thought of. And when we go to the shoulders here on the new one, you guys could see that they are black. I don't know what they were thinking. Why why have that section, I mean, these two sections of the shoulders, like, black? Why? When the rest of the figure is chrome. Maybe it's to enhance mobility, I don't know. But I don't like it. I think they should have just stuck with, you know, the whole entire figure being chrome. I think it would have looked so much better. Kind of like what's going on with this one. As you can see, the shoulders are still metal. They're not black. I think that they just should have stuck with that. But anyway, moving on. The legs, yeah, that's a different design as well. This is the more classic look. Everything pretty much from the hip down to the foot is different between the two. As you can see, the heels on this one, it's just a ball. And on these, you can see that they're shaped differently. And going back to the paint, such an awesome job on the new one. You can see that it's also battle worn. It's got rust marks on it, some scorch marks as well. So that is really nice. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in really quick, the comparison between these two. The other downside to the old one was that the lights, when you would stick batteries inside the figure, when you turn the switch off, for some reason they wouldn't turn completely off. Sometimes you would get like a glowing effect after. So that means that the batteries aren't completely off, so the power is still being drained. So that was a little annoying for that. Whereas with this one, when I turn them off, they're completely off. I don't have to worry about that. And on another side note, I just want to let you guys know that I am selling the Terminator 2 T-800 Endoskeleton, this one here. So if anybody is interested, let me know. I have posted it on Facebook. I'm sorry, not on Facebook, on eBay. Just send me an email. I will leave my username in the description of this video. So yeah, if you're interested, just let me know. And just a few other things I wanted to say. I will be keeping the plasma rifle and the skull base, because originally the skull base and the plasma rifle do come with the original Terminator endoskeleton. But when I will be selling this figure, it won't be coming with all that. All this figure is going to be coming with is the futuristic minigun that he has. This. So he will come with this. And the gun that he's holding. The handgun. And he will be coming in his original packaging. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you guys are interested in this figure. Alright, so stick with me, guys, and we will now move on to the next category. Right, so we've reached the category of likeness. And as you guys already deduced from the comparison with the old figure, this likeness is pretty awesome. I'm gonna say that it's 100% accurate to the Terminator Genisys endoskeleton and compare it to the old Terminator movies, Terminator 1 and 2. I'm gonna say it's about 90 to 95% accurate. But when you compare it to the old Hot Toys figure from Terminator 2, the endoskeleton, it's definitely a better accuracy than that one. But if you guys take a close look at the Terminator 1 and 2, it's very subtle, but you can kind of see the changes between the skulls, the endoskeleton skulls. I mean, if you saw in the comparison video the comparison that I did between this one and the old one, you can tell that the skull from the old one is definitely larger than this one. And sometimes it does seem that way in the old movies. Sometimes it looks larger in some scenes than others. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but yeah, I see the difference. But for what it is, this one, it's very good. So I'm gonna give it the accuracy 8 out of 10. But if we're comparing it to the Terminator Genisys endoskeleton, that is an easy 9 out of 10. So I'm gonna stick with that score, 9 out of 10, because this is a depiction of the endoskeleton from Terminator Genisys. So that's why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. And as you guys could see, I did put it in the pose where the endoskeleton is chasing John Connor in 1984, trying to stab him through the ventilation shafts with the big long pipe. So from here, we're going to move on to the next category. So I'll switch out the pose on this and we'll roll on to the next category. Alright, so we've reached the category of outfit. And given the fact that this figure has no real outfit per se, we're just gonna go by the look of the endoskeleton. And again, comparing it to the old Hot Toys one, I think that it just blows it right out of the water. The paint job in particular is so much more better on this one. It's how the original one should have been, in my opinion. Really, really good. We haven't gotten much of a view of what the back of this figure looks like, so there you go. Really nice. So I did explain a lot of the look of the endoskeleton and the comparison between the two. You know, the chest being in the same shape and size of the Cyberdyne logo. I thought that that was really nice that they did. The spinal column, I think that's really nice too. Even though they changed the design, I think it suits it, the figure. The legs, pretty nice too. The feet, I'd rather they would have stuck with the original looking feet. I think that they just look better to me, more robotic or machine-like. I'm not too fond of the look of this one, these feet. The head I really like, really good. But the chrome is just, it's so good. I love the fact that you can see your own reflection in it. The look of the eyes too. In my opinion, they look just a little bit more menacing than the original Hot Toys figure. But everything besides that, like the arms, pretty much the same. Not much has changed from them. The shoulders, I already told you guys, I'm not a big fan of. I don't know why they went with black shoulders and the rest chrome. But I guess we have the designers of the movie to thank for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So for the likeness, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because if it weren't for the black shoulders and maybe the feet looking a little bit better, that would have been a perfect 10. And from here on, let's just jump right into the articulation, the next category. It's got pretty good articulation. For it being a endoskeleton, I mean. Because if you think about it, a robotic machine type figure wouldn't be so agile as, like, say, a Spider-Man would. So let's just run through it. The head can rotate, but the position where it's in right now is basically as far as it'll go. It can't do a full 360 turn because of the tubes that run down the neck. So when you rotate the head, you gotta be very careful you don't turn it too far, otherwise those tubes may break. So you gotta be careful with that. Moving down to the shoulders, if you owned a Hot Toys Endoskeleton, the old one, the one that I had in the comparison, it's very similar to that. The shoulders are exactly the same as that. It can go up and down. You can rotate it about 90 degrees upward. It can't do a full 360 turn because of the wire that is connected from the chest to the shoulder here. So if you were to do a full 360 turn, that would rip. But yeah, I'm gonna say don't go over 90 degrees when you bring it upward. It can go a good amount backward. And other than that, let's see, the chest section, it does have a bit of an ab crunch, not too much. The spinal column here does have some articulation, so you can rotate it maybe a little less than 40 degrees right and left. It does have a little bit of pivot from that side to that side. The legs, they can kick upward about 90 degrees. Very impressive. I do believe that the old Hot Toys figure was able to do that too. I'm not too sure, but I don't think that the old Hot Toys figure was able to do a crouching position, which this one can. So yeah, good articulation in the hips. They can kick outward a little bit, not too much, because of the pistons right here. So I'm going to say a little less than 40 degrees they can kick out. And moving on down, the knees have a 90-degree bend. And that would be a single bend. Same thing with the elbows, 90 degrees. The wrists, they got a very weird thing going on. I'm going to say that I don't have the Harley Quinn figure, but I do believe that the not the ankles, but the wrists have the same wrist pegs as the Harley Quinn figure. It's got the cut at an angle, so when you articulate the wrists, it kind of goes at an angle. So there is that. But I find having a hard time trying to articulate the wrists because the tubes that run along the forearm, they do tend to like bend a little bit, so you can't stress it too much when you bend it, otherwise I'm afraid that they will break. They do provide you with an extra pair of those forearm tubes, so it is nice that Hot Toys thought of that. But yeah, they got like this new system where if you want to interchange the hands, you have to take those tubes off, and it can be annoying at times. So if you have patience, then I'd say, that shouldn't be a problem for you. But it does tend to get a little bit annoying when you're changing the hands. So, as I said before, there is a 90-degree bend in the knees. The ankles, they do have rotation in this area here. So you could turn it outward or inward. And they have rotation at the ankles where you could turn it inward or outward. So there's that. And then they have articulation on the toes. And it can turn upward from the foot. On the ankle area, it can turn upward a little bit and down a little bit. You don't want to bend it too much upward or downward because of the Achilles pistons here. If you stretch it too much, I'm afraid they will break, so you got to be careful with that. So yeah, that's it for the articulation. But as I said before, it's not really much of a problem for me. This character isn't supposed to be able to move all that much, at least in my image. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, so stick with me, guys, and we'll continue on with the review. Alright, so now we've reached the category of accessories. And let me just pan down here. And this is what we get for accessories. Not a whole lot. So let's run through everything. You get one pair of relaxed hands, which come on the figure inside of the package. You got 2 fists. You got an extra spare pair of forearm tubes, just in case one of the ones from the arms breaks. You have a spare, so that's good. You got the instruction manual, which is very essential for any figure you get. Then you get this piece of crap stand. I don't know what the heck Hot Toys was thinking. I mean, you look at this and it's basically a half-completed DX stand. You got the lights in the front, which do move, as you can see, but there's no lights in them. You got this textured flooring, which looks like it was just painted over. I'm really afraid that the paint will scratch off the more you move around your figure on this base. Compared to the DX13 that we get, the battle damage is very similar to this base. It's got the same pattern and everything, but that one actually had a grate. You could feel the holes and stuff, but this one, it doesn't. It's just a floor that's like textured. And then if you look at the back here, let me show you guys real quick. You get a hole in the back where the light switch is supposed to be for a DX stand. But there's just a hole. And on the bottom of this base is the compartment where you put in 3 AAA batteries. So what the heck, you know, like I said before, I don't know what Hot Toys was thinking, just providing us this kind of a base. I think they just took the lazy route out and just said, okay, you know what, we'll just use one of these, and yeah, there you go. It's not even completed or anything. I mean, at least give us some working lights. If you're going to give us this type of a base. If you don't want to give us this kind of a base, then just give us a regular stand. One of those little normal ones. And then you get the plaque on the front. So, in my opinion, this base is really useless. All it does is take up space because it's so big. But anyway, moving on. Other than the base, you get this giant plasma minigun. This, on the other hand, is really good. Very detailed with the paint and the weathering and everything. It's just plastic, so it's not that heavy. The figure can hold it very easily. The only problem I had was getting the gun grip and the handle in the figure's hands. I couldn't get it for some reason. I had so much trouble trying to get it in. Maybe not everybody had the same problem, but I did. It's very tricky trying to do that. Yeah, real good job with the paintwork on this minigun. And the size of it is very, very large. It measures from his foot all the way up to, I'd say, around the hip area of the figure. So, but it complements the figure very good. It makes it look very cool. And the handle right here is articulated, so it can bend all the way backwards. That's how it comes out of the package, I guess, so it wouldn't break off. So that's very nice. So, not very good on the accessories, I would say. I'm going to give it props for the extra hands, the tubes, and the gun, basically. The instruction manual, I'm not going to give it any props for that because it should be common sense to include a instruction manual with any figure. So, yeah, the accessories for me on the score on it is gonna get a 4 out of 10. Very poor, because it could have been so much better. They could have included a plasma rifle. I know they don't, the endoskeletons in Terminator Genisys don't use the plasma rifles, but at least for nostalgic purposes, they could have just threw that in there. It would have been nice. When I'm talking about the plasma rifle, this is what I mean. The one the endoskeletons use in Terminator 2. The phased plasma rifle in 40-watt range. So that would have been nice if they would have included that. The score would have been a lot higher if that would have been included. I did hear other people mention on the review for this figure that they wish it could have included a human skull base. Kind of like the one that it was on earlier. This one. That would have been very nice. I would have preferred that a lot better than this piece of junk they gave us. So, they really did a very bad job in just, you know, giving us this second-rate base. But enough rambling. Yeah, that score for the accessories is gonna get a 4 out of 10 for me. There's a few things I forgot to mention on the articulation section of this review. The jaw does open, just like the old endoskeleton Hot Toys figure. So that's very nice that they remembered to do that. And I believe I did forget to mention the batteries that come in this figure are the tiny ones, the LR5 2.6, I believe they are. So they're the smaller than average size batteries. I think that's about it for the things that I forgot and the accessories. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this review. I'm gonna put a short pause in here and give you guys the final score on this figure. So stick around. Okay guys, so to round up the scores, this figure earns a 31 out of a possible 50. I know it's a pretty low score, mainly due to the fact of accessories, and source information. Took a couple of big hits right there. There was another thing that I wanted to mention. Between these two figures, the older endoskeleton and the new one, the older one has the shoulder blades that pop out. I didn't get to cover that in the articulation, but just wanted to mention that. The newer one does not have that. The shoulder blades just stay in place, and one on his back. So let me just show you guys that real quick. So as you can see, they're just stuck right there. You can't move them at all. But that's not a big issue for me because on the older one, this one, I never used to use that feature anyway. I would never move the shoulder blades. So yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. Another thing that I wanted to mention to you guys is the scale of this figure. It is all wrong. It is way too tall. As you can see, the older one is shorter. The top of the head reaches to around the nose area, as you can see. And when you compare it to the Terminator 1 Arnold, it's a little bit more taller, but it's still short. I mean, when you put these guys together, they should be the exact same size. Or, I mean, the exact same height. I mean, I know that this is a Fison body, so it's a tad shorter, maybe an inch, but yeah, that's not really that big of a difference between the height of this Fison body and the regular body. So you can clearly tell the difference with this new endoskeleton. Yeah, it's just way out of scale. I don't know why Hot Toys didn't take that into consideration for the Terminator collectors, but it's just something that I'm gonna have to deal with. I guess I could just change up the poses to make it look like it's the same size. That's what you're gonna have to do if that does bother you. But all in all, I am satisfied with this figure. I do think it's an upgrade to this older figure, given the fact that it has better articulation and a better paint job and a better likeness, I would say. So Oh, and this is the DX13 base I was talking to you guys about earlier in the accessories section. So, as you can see, it is the steel grate. If you can listen, you can hear that these are actual holes. So it looks like an actual grate. It's not steel, but it's plastic, but at least it gives the illusion that it is a real grate that whoever is standing on this, as opposed to this one, which is just a floor with painted with a painted steel grate on it. So yeah, I much rather prefer this, that they just give us this at least. I mean, it's an easy thing. All you have to do is just like, because I know they still must have these in stock at the Hot Toys company. So they easily could have just yanked off the nameplate and put this nameplate on this base. I mean, is that so hard? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if they wanted to take the lazy route out, because this actually has functioning lights. It's got the switch in the back, and you can put the batteries in, and you know, easy fix. As opposed to just giving us like a half done base that doesn't do anything at all. But that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching my review. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. There will be more videos coming. I have a couple more figures on the way, so stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Alright, later guys, bye.